Good morning out there, in there, out there, here, from, in here, out here. Oh my goodness, there's a kitty cat under the table here. That's Molly. Whoa, what, Molly, what you doing? Smelling my feet. Here's Vivi, my buddy, right here. Julie's crocheting. It's stunning. If she weren't so shy, I'd make her hold it up to the camera. Would you do that? No. She said no. Okay. All right. We got to check our notes here. Here's Vivi's nose. Here's to you. Oh, my goodness. So, welcome. Good morning. Hi, Mark and Mariana. Oh, my goodness, my goodness. Today is the big night. We're going to have a reading at the Red Dock. Come on, come and be with us. I thought it'd be really fun. I'm so grateful to the new owners of the Red Dock for continuing our end of summer Labor Day reading. And I thought, the guy who invented the Red Dock, I don't know, 25 years ago or so, he and his wife, Donna, Tony Amato, created this marvelous restaurant that sits in the water. There are several restaurants here on the lake that are on the water. However, this one is built on pilings and sits out in the water, and it's really sweet. You're surrounded by water. It's called the Red Dock, and I thought, hey, if we're going to do this reading tonight, and you got to come be there, I'm flying you in. Let's invite the guy to be with me who started it all, Tony Amato. What a wonderful guy. An old deadhead that he's full of heart. And so Tony and I are going to read tonight, 6:30. Come early, get parking, have something to eat. Oh my goodness. There is a book coming out in October that you must get by the remarkable Dana Vanderlocht. Its title is Enemies in the Orchard, and it's based on her family, true story of their apple orchard that they worked. They rented somebody else's land, but they had an apple orchard on it. And during World War II, several Nazi war prisoners were sent to that orchard, to that family, to work the orchard, pick the apples. And it's a back and forth between Claire, the young girl of the family, and Karl, one of the Nazis, who represents them all, but they go back and forth with each other. What a book. And slowly they become humane with each other. No more Nazi, no more separation. I don't know of a book like it. Oh, and speaking of restaurants like the Red Dock, oh boy, heartbroken. This restaurant that we've come to love, not only the restaurant that has exceptional food, but the couple who own it. Alec runs things out front, and Lindsay is a brilliant chef. And what makes it distinct from others is that Lindsay is really a culinary chef. Seasonings, everything is not like anything else. It's not only a pancake. It's something with it, and her seasonings and sauces, and oh my gosh. And this is their last year after about 9, and oh boy, we always felt bad that we couldn't go more often. Retired professors can't do that. And we love them so much. They're almost our kids. We're so old and they're so good to us. And on Julie's birthday, I think I told you this, Alex suddenly came out with a mimosa with a candle lit beside it and just said, "For you." Vivi's growling. Somebody must be walking by. He's my buddy. I'm so glad she's with us today here. Huh? She's so dear. She's the most patient, puts up with everything. Oh my goodness. So by Grow. What a wonderful name for a restaurant, right? Grow. Speaking of books, Charlie Bryce, the poet, and his wife poet, Judith, Pittsburghers. Charlie's new book is Miracles That Keep Me Going. And the miracles are, as our pastor Sal said, our responsibility. No more, dear God, help the poor, help the hungry, help stop the war. Let's do it. Those miracles are up to us. Huh? And that's Charlie's book. It's hilarious in the most incongruous ways. It's irreverent in the most reverent ways. It's full of incongruous juxtapositions. Yeah. Miracles That Keep Me Going. And, there really aren't issues. Keep hearing about, well, it's an issue. There's an issue. It's just cruelty. Let's call it what it is. Cruelty. It's not an issue. If you're doing something to keep others down, or you're passing or refusing to pass bills because they're issues, no. Now, you're either being cruel or you're being kind and helpful. It's too bad that our politics turn into issues instead of humanity. Heartbreaking. Heartbreaking, isn't it? Oh, wow. What an amazing thing happened this last Saturday. So, there's this group of students who loved each other. Their first year, they all lived in the same wing in the dorm, and they just hit it off, and they were buddies. And what a great idea. This dear guy, Mark Brown, and his dear wife, Lydia, what a wonderful couple. They organized and set up a 50th reunion of their first year, or back then their freshman year. Where'd Vivi go? Oh, she's over there on the floor now. It's very comfortable. This is soft, and the floor is hard, and that's where she goes to lie down. Okay, anyway, back to this reunion. So it was out of Tunnel Park along the beach, along the lake, and they reserved a pavilion. And the time went from 2 to 9 at night, 2 in the afternoon, till 9. And they invited 2 faculty members, and I got to be one. And the other one was the legend of Hope College, Stephen Doc Hemingway. And I got to be there with him. Wow. I mean, talk about an honor that touches your heart so much. And there they were, and I got to be with them, and we had the most warm-hearted time. And Stephen and I were both asked to speak. And I told the story of how I was barely hired. I came for an interview, screwed it all up. Somebody asked, one of the members asked, do you have any, what would you do with freshman comp? And I said, oh, I have tons of ideas. And he said, oh, I never realized ideas came in tonnage. And so the final vote in the department, there were 12 members voting, and it was 6-6, 6-4, 6 against me. And the dean at the time, a violin professor, Maury Ryder, for some reason sent the white smoke up and said yes to me, for me. And I came, and of course was just, as I said to them, you know, that one vote for me, or I wouldn't be here with you, and I wouldn't have had a life filled with students that mean the world to me. And look how close that was. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for dear Maury Ryder. And I had the most wonderful life with those students. So then Stephen and I were to speak a little bit to them, and I told them that story. And then I said, I'm going to give you a quiz. And they all laughed, and I said, and I handed out paper and pens, and I said, but you already know the answer. And here's the question. Write down 3 things, at least one positive, at least one not so positive, that you never would have crossed your mind when you were at the college that happened after. Oh my gosh, it was fascinating. And that, you know, they had been reminiscing, but now they were talking, it led them to be talking about their lives. So then we went around and I said, you don't have to if it's something that you don't want to say. I said it can be personal, national, political, anything. Well, the range was fascinating, okay? From a woman who had been in West Berlin and then East Berlin and never dreamed the wall would come down. Of course, the Twin Towers, and of course, and a Barack Obama, black president. Bill Cosby, isn't that fascinating? The heartbreak of Bill Cosby. The Cubs winning the World Series. Well, on and on it went. The pandemic, of course. Twin Towers, of course. And then it was fascinating what wasn't mentioned. There were things that I thought would be mentioned, like the end of the Vietnam War, that weren't mentioned. But, you know, I'm never going to forget that this was one of the most moving times of my entire life. Julie's crocheting. I'm trying to talk her into showing you this remarkable thing. And I got one of these again with a smile. It's amazing what she's doing. And I wish I had something that could take me away from everything like she has. How about that blue moon? Did you see it? Julie found an open space for us to watch it. Holy cow. You see the size of that thing? The way it looks like that? Oh! Wow. That's the biggest. That was really something to see. And thanks to Julie for that. Peaches. Oh my goodness, the peaches this year. Oh, this is the season for them. Whew. Wow. Are they... Oh, so sweet, so good, so wonderful. I tore this rotator cuff, and boy, Is it ever hurting? And I'm begging for your pity. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm begging for your pity. Oh, boy. Well, let's see. Boy, it's hard to publish poems. You know, like a magazine will get 800 poems to publish 20. Publishers get 500 manuscripts and they pick one. And you know, these wonderful poets who deserve to have their books published. You know, in Ireland, poets are called tradesmen because they're essential. And we live in a culture that's non-poem. It's weird. And I don't like poetry, and I don't understand it, and all these misunderstandings. And then we end up being taught to evaluate. I don't believe in evaluation. There's a new book of poems out by the Pittsburgh poet, my town, Pittsburgh, Charlie Bryce. His wife is also a poet, Judith Bryce. And the name of the book is, I'm looking down, Miracles That Keep Me Going. And it's something. And he takes, and like our Pastor Sal says, the miracles should be done by us. Not, dear God, help the poor, stop the war, feed the hungry. No. That's, we do that. Those miracles need to be done by us. And Charlie Bryce's poems reveal all that, and they're hilarious, and they're irreverent, and they're reverently irreverent, and they're incongruous, and wild juxtapositions that you can't believe and yet make sense. And just so fun. And I got asked to write a review of it. And it's interesting for me to do that because I don't believe in evaluation. I believe in celebration. And so I got to celebrate Charlie's book, and it'll be in the Patterson Review. I'm not asking you to get it. I'm just saying, you know, delight, honor, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I mentioned the peaches, right? Yeah, let's see what else we have here. Well, Meredith is having the most amazing time teaching K through 5, and there's even TK. I mean, these are people not ready for kindergarten, but they have their own class. She has 7 different classes. Can you imagine? Art classes. And she's learning day by day just astonishing things. So the other day she said, okay, take this piece of paper and fold it in half. And the little kids all looked at her. They didn't know what fold meant, and they didn't know what half meant. So she just had to show them. And then they learned something. So what she thinks she's going to get to have them learn, she finds out they learned something else instead. And she just comes home every day with this big smile, exhausted, just falls asleep. She starts at 7 in the morning and finishes at close to 5. I mean, come on. 10 hours in a school? Of course, anybody can be a teacher. It's so easy to be a teacher. Their life is so easy. It's nothing to it. Oh, why do people think that? Why do people think that? Why do people think that? I said the blue moon, right? Whoo, boy. So we'll see you tonight at the Red Dock. Oh, one other book. My dear friend Norbert in Germany. Isn't it fun to have friends that you make that you never meet because of Zoom and text and email? Anyway, Norbert is a brilliant photographer, wonderful haiku writer, and his dear wife Karina, who does everything, just every craft, art, garden, you name it. And he invariably sends me things. And he sent me an interview with Seamus Heaney. And a wonderful interview with the Irish Nobel Prize winning Seamus Heaney. And we went to hear Seamus read one time, and Julie kissed him. She kissed him. And he looked at her and he said, "Oh, my goodness. Oh, I'm too jowly for that." Isn't that dear? Oh, my. And so my friend sent me that interview, and he recommends books, and he sent me a recommendation, and I'm loving this book. It's called Leonard and Hungry Paul by the Irish writer Ronan Hessian. And it's a happy book. When do you get to read a brilliant, happy book that won, let alone won literary awards? A happy book. Ah, what a joy. Well, let's finish up here with a nice little quiet poem. We need some quiet. There's an irony in here because I can't shut up. And the poem talks about me being quiet. That's never happened. So it's fiction. Vivi's asleep. Vivi's knows. The title is from a quote by William Stafford. No harm in being quiet. No harm in being quiet. At the beach, I listen to an outboard, to the lake's waves. Overhead, the large silence of the sky. "Where are my shoes?" cries a child, and a young mother pulls them from the water. I used to talk a lot. Now I can seldom think of how to carry on a normal conversation. What's wrong with him? Maybe this is just a long pause as I wait for some new words. Words that will float above the waves, mix with the air, cling like a kite string to a single cloud. Thanks for being with me. Take care. Try to be kind. Or be kind. Try to be cheerful. Take care, and thanks so much.